This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Safety concern. A Nova Scotia mother calls for more inclusion after her son with autism went missing from school.
Unfair stigma. Kentville's homeless residents call for respect as they face rising community tensions.
And the National Arts Centre Orchestra returns to Escazone for a powerful collaboration with local star Emma Stevens.
The unsettled weather continues over the next couple of days, but we'll see a little bit of sun in the mix this weekend. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. An Annapolis Valley woman is calling for more supports in the pre-primary program after her son, who has autism, went missing from school last week.
The boy was playing with classmates outside when he ran into the woods behind the school. He was found safely after half an hour.
But his mother says there should have been more safeguards to protect him. The CBC's Francis Willock reports.
Today, Regan Antoine is just happy to be home with her 5-year-old son, Michael. But last week, for about half an hour, she feared the worst. She got a call from the school saying that staff couldn't find Michael. He had slipped away from the early childhood educators on duty.
I was only gravitating to the worst of the worst. I wasn't thinking he was just like chilling on a rock or safely playing in the water. I instantly was like, this is it. I gave my son his last hug.
Antoine immediately made her way to the school and began searching the woods. Teachers and staff, as well as police, were already combing the area. A police drone was overhead and a police dog was on the way. Michael was eventually found safe and uninjured, sitting on a rock. Antoine says he had seemingly waded into a stream behind the school because his pant legs were wet to the knees.
Thankfully, he was unharmed, and I'm very blessed that he was found, not as quickly as he was, but for the time that he was unattended, that he was safe.
Antoine says both she and the school had already taken safety precautions because they knew Michael was a flight risk. The classroom door has an alarm. He wears a reflective vest when he's outdoors, and he has a tracker on his wrist at all times. But Antoine says he needs one-on-one support at school, something that isn't offered in pre-primary.
I want the Department of Education to realize that disabilities don't start in primary where they allow EAs. These kids are born with them and they need help.
The Department of Education said extra staff can be brought into pre-primary, but they are there to provide support to the whole class rather than one-on-one supervision. Antoine said the school has told her they offered to make an ECE available to watch only Michael during outdoor playtime. Francis Willock, CBC News, Halifax.
The Canadian Forces Military Police have charged 2 members of the Royal Canadian Navy in connection with the death of a sailor after a vessel capsized in the Bedford Basin last year. Petty Officer 2nd Class Gregory Applin was traveling in a rigid hull inflatable boat when it struck a mooring buoy in January of 2025. Applin was taken to hospital where he later died. Master sailor David Terry, who was serving on HMCS Montreal at the time of the incident, is charged with criminal negligence causing bodily harm and negligent performance of military duties. Sailor First Class Alexandra Garrison is charged with dangerous operation of a conveyance causing death and also negligent performance of military duties. If the charges lead to a prosecution, the accused will be tried in the military justice system.
The victim of a fatal shooting in Amherst has been identified as Christopher Leggett. According to his obituary, the 41-year-old leaves behind a son. Leggett was killed in a shooting on Prince Arthur Street on Monday around 7 p.m. Police are investigating the shooting as a targeted homicide, saying the victim knew his attackers, who fled the scene in a dark-colored SUV. Police are still searching for the suspects.
Tensions have been rising in Kentville recently over the homelessness issue, which has become more visible in the downtown core. But some of the people without a place to live say the stigma towards them is unfair. Josh Hoffman reports.
The homelessness problem in Kentville is creating friction in the community, and the ones who are living rough say they feel they're being made out to be the villains. Business owners are upset about what they call disruptive behavior in the downtown, and some residents say they feel unsafe walking the streets. The tension led to a lively public meeting in January, where hundreds of people showed up. But some of those who are actually experiencing homelessness say they're just ordinary people in a tough situation.
We just want to be treated with respect. We are human beings. We're just down on our luck.
Jacqueline Turbot never thought she would be homeless at this point in her life. She was left with nowhere to go after being rent-evicted earlier this year, and now she stays at a shelter in the town. The only thing worse, she says, is a negative attitudes toward people in her position.
I don't know how to explain it, but there's a feeling of I don't matter.
None of us want to be here.
Gordon Monroe has been homeless for 6 years and says no one chooses to live this life. He says there's a misconception among members of the public that homeless people don't want to get help.
It's a rough life, and for anyone to think it's just over being lazy and drunk, drug addict, no. I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy.
Monroe became homeless after he had to stop working because of health problems, and the building he was living in was sold. Since then, he says his health has only gotten worse.
I'm falling apart, body's just stress, eat you alive. Like, I've aged more in the last 2.5 years than I have in the last 15.
Both Monroe and Turbot say they're in this position because there's a lack of affordable housing in the Kentville area. Data from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation shows the vacancy rate in Kentville last year was 1.4%, even lower than Halifax. The provincial government is building a 30-unit public housing complex in Kentville, which is expected to be complete by next year. But Monroe and Turbot aren't necessarily guaranteed spots, and even if they were, they still face another winter without a home. Josh Hoffman, CBC News, Halifax.
And a day of drizzle in Halifax. Ryan Snoddon with us now.
Gray and kind of gloomy.
Yeah, that's right. And more of the same for Thursday. More showers, drizzle on tap for the province as we look at the high temperatures today. High temperatures, 10, 12 degrees. Kedgie back towards Kentville, Greenwood. Those were Shelburne are double digits rather. And Cheticamp did get to 11 as well. But that easterly flow certainly keeping its presence felt throughout the day. Clouds in the mix, a few showers. We'll continue to see that as this frontal boundary runs from west to east through the region, and we're looking at some more substantial rain coming for Thursday night in through Friday, and this is how it's all going to play out. So there are those shower chances tomorrow. Can't rule out a break of sun, but yeah, it's going to be few and far between. As we look at the outlook for Thursday night into Friday, here comes that next round of rain. The good news, this whole front sinks off to the south. High pressure coming in to save the day. Check the timeline. That says Saturday, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, we like that.
We noticed. Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, the head of obstetrics and gynecology at the IWK Health Centre says care for women and gender diverse people in the province would benefit from increased resources. Dr. James Bentley told MLAs on the legislature's health committee Tuesday that he and his team see about 500 referrals a month. Bentley says even with about 7 people added to the complement in recent years, patients are still waiting longer than they should.
Could we take another 3 or 4 people? I think we could, and I think that would benefit. How many do we need? I don't know. Things get more complicated. The surgeries people can do are more complicated, and the resources and tools we've got are take more time. So, yes, I think we need more people, but I think you have to do it iteratively and add a few more, and then see what happens after that.
Bentley says a provincial health strategy for women and gender diverse people could help, as would family doctors taking on more of the less complicated care in that domain. Officials with the IWK Foundation told the committee they're calling for the federal government and provinces to create a strategy.
The RCMP is investigating the theft of dozens of vases from a cemetery in Pictou County. Police say over 60 metal vases that were removed from headstone mountings at a cemetery in the community of Sylvester are believed they were stolen between March 21st and April 4th. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
People gathered at a Halifax cemetery late last night to remember the Titanic disaster, those who helped and those who died in that ill-fated voyage in 1912. The CBC's Gareth Hampshire has a story.
The Titanic hit an iceberg on this day around this time, 114 years ago. And that's why these people are here.
It's very important to keep the history alive, to remember all these souls. The 121 souls buried here at Ferry Lawn, the 19 buried in Mount Olivet Cemetery, the 10 buried in Baron-de-Hirsch Cemetery, as well as all the other passengers and crew.
They're also paying tribute to those deployed from Halifax to the recovery effort after the ocean liner sank in the North Atlantic.
A series of body search ships were sent out from Halifax and recovered hundreds of bodies, which were brought to Halifax. And those that weren't shipped off to relatives by rail are buried in 4 cemeteries across Halifax. And so this is the final resting place of the world's largest sort of collection of victims of Titanic.
Some here have personal connections to those who helped. Blair Bede's grandfather was one of the undertaker assistants and worked in a mortuary in Halifax. He placed lights by one of the graves.
The one that strikes me the most is Elma Paulson, because she's listed here with the names and ages of her young children. And it evokes that image that somebody has been working to get their children up, dressed, and they then go to the top deck, and unfortunately there's no lifeboats left.
And there is also a visitor from Belfast, where the Titanic was built and where there's now a world-renowned attraction.
Some of the people who are buried here, Malcolm Johnson, for instance, we have his pocket watch, which I look at every day in the Titanic Belfast Gallery. And I think it's very important to remember the people that were on board and those people who rescued them as well in the aftermath.
A number of the graves remain unidentified, marked with a number. Names have been added to others, and the group here are determined to remember them all for years to come. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
The National Arts Centre Orchestra traveled to Eskasoni First Nation this week, returning to the community after performing there nearly a decade ago.
The performance was joined by a local voice singing a well-known song in Mi'kmaq. The CBC's Anna Rack reports.
Emma Stevens first performed her rendition of Blackbird by the Beatles as a teenager, fully in the Mi'kmaq language. Now she's performing on the stage at home with an entire orchestra to an audience of about 400 people.
Being able to speak my truth and my story and advocate for people who can't raise their voice is very good when I want to put it through music, because music is a universal language.
She's joining Canada's National Arts Centre Orchestra on their tour, bringing a little bit of Eskasoni to the stage.
Like, I performed at home multiple times during like hockey games and stuff like that. So, but this is on a higher level. It's more of, I get to show my community exactly how much I care for them and I love our culture and our people.
The orchestra's conductor, Alexander Shelley, says he promised to return to Eskasoni after their performance in 2017. He says he's thrilled to be joined by a local talent.
I wouldn't want to have been here without us performing with an artist from Eskasoni, and I'm so thrilled with Emma Stevens. Firstly, her story with Blackbird is amazing. But Paul McCartney heard about it himself. It sounds so beautiful in Mi'kmaq.
The orchestra was also joined by Jeremy Dutcher from Tobic First Nation in New Brunswick. Community member Vivian Basque says she saw the orchestra's performance here nearly a decade ago and came back to see it again. She says she listens to Stevens' music on YouTube at home all the time.
It is emotional. Like, the people here are excited over this. Like, this is huge. Like, this is a huge event.
The orchestra's tour will also be performing in Halifax on April 16th and Wolfville on the 17th. Anna Rack, CBC News, Eskasoni First Nation.
Yes, lots of water in the waterfall in Victoria Park in Truro. Ryan's up next with the weather forecast. Please stay with us.
The showers are good. The showers are good. We must keep telling ourselves that, huh?
We need the rain, but there's also some hope on the horizon, right?
There is. The problem with a day like today is that we need the rain, but today really didn't bring a whole lot to help the wells. It's just kind of drizzly, showery. We're not really seeing much in the way of accumulation. So it's just one of those days, right? Have a look at the scene at Back Row. This kind of tells the story, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much the way it was today, for sure.
Yeah,
you would need the lighthouse, I think. It's pretty foggy looking there.
Yeah, for sure. And that is definitely the scene all along the Atlantic coastline today. And fog patches inland, too, in a good few spots based on the webcam. Not seeing a whole lot because of from the satellite, because it's just so much cloud. As we look at the temperatures out there right now, 12 still at Yarmouth, 10 in Greenwood. Temperatures generally in the mid-single digits across the board. A little cooler there in the onshore winds in places like Sydney, places like Ingonish Beach at 2, Canso's at 2, Pictou, that Caribou Point station is at 3. And yes, so we struggle along here through mid-April like this, and this is par for the course this time of year, right? We know this. Days like this are still a bit of a tough pill. Now, as we look at the weather systems map, and you can see all the clouds in the mix, some showers back towards New Brunswick, and these are going to be sailing through. Again, as we move our way through tomorrow, we'll see showers, I think, a little more prevalent than they were today, and then the steadier rainfall set for Thursday night into Friday morning, and this is what's going to be working its way through our region. We'll talk about that. Note 3 different air masses here. Warmer than average, kind of near seasonal, and then cooler than average. And boy, this cooler air across the north, -6 in Edmonton right now, -12 in Yellowknife. It won't get that cold, but this cooler air will spill across North America, and we will be tapping into it next week with some cooler than seasonal temperatures. So just a little prepare for it, heads up. We'll talk about it with your 7-day. There are the temperatures tonight. Generally clouds, drizzle, fog patches. Note temperatures near 1 in through Cape Breton. So there is the potential for some patchy freezing drizzle, especially over the highlands for tonight in those temps that are going to be right near that freezing mark. As we look at the outlook, again, just a whole lot of cloud cover, the fog patches, the drizzle. And note, by the time we get to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, already starting to see some of these showers moving through. And those will track in from west to east throughout the morning. Off and on, possibly even into the afternoon. Forecast models still differing on just how much we'll see kind of hanging on even into the mid to late afternoon, but keep the umbrella handy. Note the winds from the southeast tomorrow. So the warmest temperatures again are going to be Amherst back to Digby, away from that onshore flow. Now, I do think Cape Breton could see some sun breaks tomorrow. It looks like the shower chances less than 30% for you folks. Could see some patchy drizzle, though, again in the southeast winds. Fog patches along that Atlantic coastline in the onshore winds. Chance for showers, Canso, more so down through Sherbrooke. Again, it's a very isolated risk for a shower across the Northumberland shore. Looks like you folks are just cloudy, maybe a break of sun or two. Better chance for showers the closer you are to the Atlantic coastline tomorrow. Halifax just near 6 tomorrow, but should be into the double digits, as you can see, through the Annapolis Valley and back towards Yarmouth. Okay, so looking at the outlook here for Thursday night, this is what we need. More beneficial shot of rain coming through for Thursday night into Friday morning, maybe a 5 to 15 millimeter shot, and that will then move its way out. Friday afternoon, timing is everything, but it does look like we could see some breaks of sun into the later afternoon on Friday. Amherst back through Kentville to Yarmouth, and if that happens, temperatures here would warm up, maybe even a little bit warmer than what I've forecast here, but we'll wait with bated breath to see if that plays out. Either way, you can see the temperatures cooler in the east. Either way, high pressure does move in and keeps things calm for Saturday. Does look like we'll see a bit of an onshore flow here along the Atlantic coastline on Saturday. That would keep temperatures cooler. But boy, if this comes to fruition here across the valley of the North Shore with all that sunshine and the flow from the southeast, things could get quite nice indeed away from that Atlantic coastline. Looks like we could range between around 12 to 18 degrees on Saturday in some of those northern areas. Sunday, shower chances more so into the afternoon. Again, southerly flow, so the warmest temperatures would be in northern parts of the province, and let's not talk too much about next week.
Yeah, like in the weekend, let's put it that way.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, Cane's Quest is the world's longest and most challenging snowmobile endurance race. It takes place in Labrador.
This year, the Quest champions donated some of their winnings to the IWK. The CBC's Zach Russell reports.
Friends and family of Cane's Quest winners Team 99 gathered here at Saga Enterprises to celebrate the donation they made to a children's hospital in Halifax. After crossing the finish line in February, the father-son team promised to donate some of their winnings to a place close to their hearts, the Nova Scotia hospital known as the IWK.
My daughter was spent in there a couple months ago, month in there, about 2020. Yeah, and I saw that donate for that little girl in here too, Evelyn Jagabish. Easy to give away, but we're not here for the money like we say in the race before. We're here for the trophy.
They donated $10,000 to the IWK, matching their previous donation in 2024 to the Janeway. The race is expensive to take part in, and that's why sponsors like Saga Enterprises are so important to racers.
It's pretty awesome to be here and building with the Saga Enterprise, and we like to take him too. Without Saga Enterprise, we will never be here on the race, I think. Without sponsors, you can't be on the race.
So Randy and Sebastian, we've been sponsors since 2014, and they won the race, and they graciously gave a significant donation to the IWK. Myself and Dorman actually flew to Halifax a couple weeks ago for a conference, and we personally went and delivered the check to the IWK, so that was very heartwarming. It was very exciting because they had a great celebration. All of their team came out, and they said they don't receive donations like this very often, and they were graciously appreciative.
Saga Enterprises hopes to see the duo back for 2028 to once again defend their title. Zach Russell, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Coming up, a new coalition in the Atlantic region is now under construction, and they hope to improve development projects. Construction leaders in the region are building a new coalition. The Atlantic Construction Alliance hopes to improve how major projects are planned and delivered across all 4 provinces. Duncan Williams of the Construction Association of Nova Scotia is part of that new alliance. He's joining us now. So, sir, what kinds of groups make up this new alliance?
Thank you for having me, Tom. We have 4 Atlantic construction associations, and we also have the 4 Atlantic road building associations.
So why are you doing this?
What we found over the years is we spend a lot of time collaborating, working together on common issues that may or may not be regional in nature, but certainly there are ones that are brewing that are much more regional in nature. And we saw an opportunity to collectively come together and join forces so that we could speak with a common voice wherever possible. And it presented an opportunity with, investments in defense and in infrastructure, a big push on housing, that we wanted to make sure that the voice of the industry was well represented for our region. In addition to that, making sure that our voice was collectively used to advise the federal government, for example, on investment in our region, and make sure that we had a seat at the table, in a nutshell.
So advocate, I guess. You're not the government, of course. You still have to operate at the whim of the government policy and so on. So how much can you realistically change?
I guess really what we've always advocated for is being a trusted partner. So we don't see ourselves necessarily always agreeing or disagreeing with government. We see ourselves being part of the society and part of the region. And as individuals and individual companies, we all live here too. So we have a vested interest at a personal level, but we also have an interest in advising government and advising on things that are standard practice, where investment will go a long way, and then bringing forward supports for wherever we can and expertise to inform the decisions that are made, hopefully to avoid, ill-informed policy decisions, and to really add to the robustness of the conversation and the collective investments that we're hoping to see attracted to this region.
Okay, it sounds good. So, but on a practical level, what kinds of policies or rules would you like to change?
Well, some of it is very simple. Things like mutual recognition of certain levels of training, making the transportation across our region a lot more affordable, easy, less red tape, less barriers to interprovincial trade and productivity impacts. So where we have things like fall arrest as a prime example, if you're trained in Nova Scotia, that should be fine, and you should be able to fluidly move across other jurisdictions. Unfortunately, that's not the case right now. So removing some of those productivity barriers that make us less competitive are important. And that's just one small example. On a much grander scale is making sure that our region gets the investment for the people of Nova Scotia, for the people of Atlantic Canada, that they deserve as taxpayers. And we've seen success in other parts of the country. So part of it was emulating that, but also making sure that the Atlantic voice is not lost in the shuffle.
So it sounds like you might hope to see the labor force be a little more fluid, being able to move through the region a bit more. You also talked about procurement in your release. Does that mean make it easier, for example, for PEI to get gravel or to get lumber from New Brunswick? Or, what exactly does the procurement piece look like?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. It's really focusing in on making sure that our procurement practices and policies are fair and transparent and create a level playing field for all participants. So that means you have the opportunity to fully participate in the public procurement system on the same rules that everybody else is playing by, and there's accountability built into that. Part of that means making sure that the contracts that are being put to the street are fair and are responsible in terms of risk transfer, and then playing a role in informing all levels of government on how to improve, but how to do it from a standard practice point of view, because not all regions even are basically created equally. So a smaller municipality, as an example, that may not procure projects very often, when you compare it to Halifax, which would procure on a daily basis probably hundreds of projects a year, there's a muscle that goes with that. And part of our role is to help those smaller municipalities who may struggle with how to do procurement properly, so we can be a trusted advisor in that scenario where we're bringing forward best practices and helping wherever we can.
Okay, and so can you give me an example, be it housing or infrastructure, of a kind of project where if this alliance had been in place, that project might have gone along better?
Yeah, there's certainly projects. I wouldn't name them individually right now, but historically in the last 6-7 years, where there have been projects in HRM, for example, that were put to the street, we call it, and really some of the language is very restrictive in there. So it would preclude companies locally from participating in that process. I don't think any of them were ill-intended, but they should be avoided. And what we want to do is provide that guidance and support and have those conversations to make sure those things don't get repeated, and that we have a strong, healthy industry here that supports, in Nova Scotia alone, across all the industry, it's over 44,000 individuals now.
Okay, 30 seconds left here, just quickly. HRM has decided it will not move ahead with a tool that would require affordable housing units in certain new buildings. What impact do you think that will have on new construction?
I think we have to really sit down and look at what are the best options and where have we seen policy around affordability really work. And I think right now we're probably mired too much in some of the minutia versus actually truly looking around the globe and saying, where is this working well and why can't we adopt some of those practices? And I'm not sure we're quite as coordinated as we would like to see on that yet. But we're certainly hoping for those conversations to take place very soon.
Duncan Williams, thank you very much.
Anytime, Tom.
Coming up, an extended ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is up in the air as oil prices drive up grocery bills.
And the world's worst humanitarian crisis drags on in Sudan 3 years after the civil war began and with no end in sight. Welcome back. As the two-week ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran approaches its midpoint, the White House is denying it requested an extension.
Even so, the Trump administration is warning it's preparing more economic measures against Iran. Katie Nicholson has more.
There's roughly 1 week left in the U.S.-Iran ceasefire, and so far, no deal. The White House press secretary flatly denying reports the U.S. formally asked to extend the truce.
That is not true at this moment. We remain very much engaged in these negotiations, in these talks. You heard from the vice president directly and the president this week that these conversations are productive and ongoing, and that's where we are right now. I've also seen some reporting about the potentiality for in-person discussions again. Those discussions are being had, but nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House.
If there are more in-person talks, Caroline Levitt said, they'd likely also be in Islamabad, where the first marathon round took place.
Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure.
After those talks failed, the U.S. started a blockade targeting Iranian vessels and ports.
If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force.
Designed to inflict economic pain on Iran, the U.S. Treasury Secretary said there's more potential economic warfare to come.
We want to freeze more funds of the leadership of the IRGC and any members of Iranian leadership. The other thing that we have done is we have told countries that if you are buying Iranian oil, that if Iranian money is sitting in your banks, we are now willing to apply secondary sanctions, which is a very stern measure, and the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
The U.S. Treasury has already sent 2 letters to banks in China, Iran's biggest oil customer, warning if they can prove Iranian money is moving through their accounts, they'll face sanctions. Another pressure point that could further weaken Iran. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
There are reports that Israel's security cabinet is considering a ceasefire on the other front in the war in Lebanon. But for now, Israel is pressing ahead with its offensive against Iranian-backed militants in the southern part of the country, and Hezbollah has been firing rockets towards northern Israel. The fighting has been complicating efforts to reach a wider peace agreement with Iran. The possibility of an end to hostilities came after rare direct talks between Israeli and Lebanese governments on Tuesday.
The war in the Middle East has been driving up gas prices for weeks, and now those additional costs are likely to increase your grocery bills. CBC News has confirmed that companies that deliver food to stores are warning of a new surcharge, blaming the soaring cost of fuel. And that charge could be passed on to you. Anissa Derry has more.
Grocery costs could be on the rise again because fuel to get food to the supermarket is way more expensive. This store owner is already seeing higher costs, with some suppliers adding a fuel surcharge.
So everybody is doing it somehow. It's coming. I mean, it's either a percentage of sales that they're charging or a flat fee.
Maple Leaf Foods now charging an extra 11 cents a kilogram for prepared meats and poultry. A letter from the company obtained by CBC News explicitly blames the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and higher fuel costs. They aren't alone. CBC News has seen similar requests from grocery suppliers Tree of Life, Atlas Foods, and Sunrise Farms. Sobeys has told CBC News it's declined to pay fuel surcharges. Metro wouldn't provide details, nor did Loblaw, though it said it pushes back on what it calls unjustified increases. But high fuel costs are likely to influence food costs, and smaller stores can't eat that.
On paper, prices are higher because freight is higher.
This Ontario grocer says they have to keep a close eye on prices.
We are very, very much a sense like a penny and a nickel business where we are always tracking where costs are relative to and where prices need to be to maintain a suitable profit margin to be able to run the business effectively.
And an upcoming temporary federal tax cut on fuel may not make a difference.
Depending upon where you're located in the country, the prices have gone up by 50%.
dropping the price of diesel by 4 or 5 cents a liter really isn't going to be impactful.
While many supermarkets have said price increases could be slow to see on the shelf, supply chain experts have said if fuel costs go down, price decreases may also be slow, if they come at all. Anis Haidari, CBC News, Calgary.
The federal government has announced more than $120 million in new aid to help the people of Sudan and its neighbors. The pledge comes on the 3rd anniversary of the start of Sudan's brutal civil war, a conflict that's led to the world's largest number of displaced people, widespread famine, and violence. And as the CBC's Ithil Musa reports, the crisis is worsening by the day.
14 million people have been forced to flee their homes as Sudan's civil war rages on. And child malnutrition in some regions has hit catastrophic levels. Experts are calling it the world's largest humanitarian crisis.
Every year we see increasing number of people in acute need of assistance, food, health, clean water, nutrition, protection services. We are speaking about 33.7 million people in acute need of assistance.
The war for control of the country is being fought between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF paramilitary. Doctors Without Borders says their teams last year treated nearly 8,000 people for injuries resulting from physical violence and gunshot wounds. And then there are the reports of sexual violence against women and girls. It's incredibly hard to think back on it, says this woman, but thank God it was our faith that kept us going. Without faith, many would have broken down. The sexual violence is so widespread, the UN says it's become a defining feature of the conflict.
I think one of the reasons why sexual violence is so prevalent is because the perpetrators feel that nothing's going to happen to them.
Complicating things on the ground now is the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. There are fears the increasing cost of fuel could disrupt the movement of life-saving humanitarian supplies across the vast country.
We depend highly on medications that we bring into Sudan. And the increase in the prices of cargo flights as well as the sea cargos is evident.
And as the humanitarian needs in Sudan continue to surge, experts warn the funding is failing to keep up. Ithil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
There have now been back-to-back school shootings in Turkey. Officials in southeastern Turkey say 9 people were killed and 13 others wounded in a shooting Wednesday. It comes the day after another gun attack wounded 16 people at a school in a nearby province. Victims included a teacher and 3 students. Some of the injured are in serious condition. Authorities say the shooter was a student armed with guns believed to belong to his father, a retired police officer. A 14-year-old gunman was killed, and it's not clear whether he or police fired the fatal shot. School shootings are very rare in Turkey.
The 3 new members of Mark Carney's Liberals are now in Ottawa. The new MPs haven't yet been sworn in, so haven't yet taken their seats in the House of Commons. But it's already clear the vibe in the chamber has changed. Ashley Burke has details from Ottawa.
The Liberal caucus celebrating Mark Carney's new majority era and the latest MPs to help get him there.
I do have a big grin on my face. Gran Surya.
The Prime Minister introducing the 3 winners of Monday's by-elections.
Canadians have placed their trust in the government's plan. We now have reinforcements to help implement that.
Carney also returning to the House to face off against his main rival.
Why doesn't he follow our full plan to reduce gas prices by 25 cents a litre by getting rid of all the taxes for all the year?
What we are not doing is what the Leader of the Opposition is proposing, which is to substantially increase the deficit, something he's regularly against.
What he is not doing is increasing the deficit. It's only up by 100% since he took office, Mr. Speaker.
The Prime Minister taking aim at Poilievre for saying in a recent interview he's badly educated on economics.
One thing I've learned in my economics education is you've got to study history and you've got to look at numbers.
Why doesn't he learn his lesson from all the failed economic experiments that only benefit insiders with tax havens like him?
Poilievre has vowed to stay on as leader despite losing 4 Conservatives to Carney's team since the fall.
Mr. Speaker, to learn a lesson, you have to have ears to hear. There are some on the benches opposite who've been listening, Mr. Speaker.
Privately, some Conservative MPs say morale is low, and there are serious questions about Poilievre's viability. But publicly, MPs are lining up to support him.
Are you worried about cross-border crossers? No, I'm not. I feel like the leader has the confidence of caucus.
We're united behind Pierre Poilievre to lead us into the next election.
Pierre has grown our movement to historic highs.
It's unclear if the Conservatives have been able to stop the floor crossings. Sources say the Liberals are in talks with MPs from other parties about if they'll join their team. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Okay, dads of daughters, listen up. At a recent beer and braids workshop in Ottawa, fathers had a chance to learn some pretty important hairstyling tips together. Here's a look at the event.
Beers and braids. Welcome to the first ever Braids and Beers Ottawa. The idea is a bunch of dads meeting up in a local pub, socializing over beers, and learning from professional hairstylists how to do their daughter's hair.
Got a bunch of my girls, they're here to help out. They're all stylists, they're so good at what they do. So with your brush, start brushing all that hair. I do have a few things that I wanted to show the dads, basic things, ponytails, braids, pigtails, easy stuff.
I have twin girls. They're going to be 5 in July, so I'm learning a bunch too. They have very different hair. One has long straight hair and one has short curly hair, so I got to tackle both worlds.
My daughter has very long hair. She loves getting it braided and done. I have no idea how to do it, so I would love to be able to be the one who can do it and help her.
Kind of like a safe space to be able to practice with experts, you know, the hairstylist, and then go home and actually put it into practice. The first couple of things, the braid and the tight braid, I had no problem with. Moving to the French braid, that's a different animal. I have tried helping my daughter with her hair, you know, when my wife's busy or out of town, helping her, and we've never been able to do it without a struggle, without tears. So when this popped up online, it was definitely something I was interested in.
I'm impressed. I think having that knowledge of doing a bit of hairstyling will take the load off of mom a bit at home, as well as just having that bonding moment with their daughters at home.
It's important to me to be able to do this because her mom passed away a few years ago, and I know that doing something like this is very important for my daughter. I'm hoping that after this, I'll be better at doing braids for my daughter, because generally not very good at it, so tomorrow I'll be much better.
All right, with the help of one of our viewers, we're going to go someplace interesting in the province right now.
Yeah, where tonight?
So listen, it's been dreary, right? We kind of have to get creative to brighten things up sometimes. So keep that in mind with this picture from Barry Burgess, who was traveling through Bass River and saw this family.
They look waterlogged for sure,
right?
Yeah.
I love this. This is just kind of taking the season and putting a little bright spin on it. Nice family there, made of generally wood, I think. Tough to make out exactly.
Got the umbrellas for sure.
They got the umbrellas, yeah. So thanks to Barry for this. April showers indeed. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. That family will be well prepared for what's to come with those showers. Periods of drizzle, those southeast winds for tomorrow. So the Atlantic coastline still struggling with the temperatures and also the fog patches in the mix. It will be milder towards the north and a more universal temperature on Friday of 9 to say 13 across the mainland on Friday. Does look like it'll be a little bit milder down towards the Yarmouth area and a little bit cooler for you folks in Cape Breton as the wind shifts to northerly for Friday. Now, as we look ahead into the weekend, well, you know what? Let's just get right to that 7-day. What do we need to see those showers tracking through here again? So there's Saturday. The warmest spots Saturday appear to be the valley and the North Shore with a southerly flow, so a bit cooler than that temperature you're seeing there for the Atlantic coastline. Similar story for Sunday.
All right, Ryan, thanks so much. Well, being chased by a robot is something you only expect to see in a movie or in nightmares, right? Or is it?
Oh, boy.
Oh, creepy. This is a humanoid robot called Edward Warchaki, seen here running after a herd of wild boars in the streets of Warsaw.
The AI-equipped robot has become an internet sensation. While this is presumably an attempt to chase away wild animals wandering into the city, Edward the robot has also appeared in Polish talk shows.
It also visited Polish Parliament recently and chatted with MPs. Why chasing the boars, though?
Is he a little bow-legged, too?
He could be.
I don't know.
Spooky.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.